Hi, my name is Garrett Fuller, and in this video I'm going to be talking about one of my hobbies, retro computing. Retro computing is the study, preservation, and enjoyment of vintage computers that are 20 years or older. Wikipedia also defines retro computing as the use of older computer hardware and software in modern times, which is a pretty accurate description of what the hobby entails. Thanks, Wikipedia. One of the things that really intrigues me about computing history is the evolution of computer hardware. How something that once took up an entire floor of a building has been condensed into something that can fit in the palm of your hand, yet that condensed version that does fit in the palm of your hand is many, many, many times powerful than that computer that was from the 60s that took up the entire floor of that building. There are other things that interest me. One research project I have done was I actually studied the history of computing at my university. So starting my freshman year here at the University of Central Missouri, I went to the archives and just started researching. I traced the history all the way back to 1963 when UCM, then CMSC, leased its very first computer from IBM. My research goes all the way up until the mid-90s, and it traces through various steps, including from different mainframe models, all the way till modern or personal computers became commonplace on campus. So for the preservation aspect, I actually own 5 computers that were made before 2000. 2 of them happen to be right by my side. This computer here is a 1988 Macintosh SE, which has been upgraded by its original owner. And then this gray laptop was a 1994 Macintosh PowerBook 165. I also own another 1988 Macintosh SE, which is completely stock. It is actually a dual floppy model, so it doesn't have an internal hard drive, just 2 floppy drives. I have a 1991 Macintosh Classic, and then then a recent acquisition was a 1985 Macintosh 512K that actually was upgraded to a Plus. There is actually a surprising amount of what you can do with these computers. For instance, the script for this very video was actually typed on this computer behind me and printed on the printer behind the laptop, this Apple Image Writer 2. So word processing is one of the things that you can do with these computers. In fact, pretty much every written assignment I have done this semester here at the university was typed on one of my vintage Macs and either printed on this Image Writer 2 or using a special device called a floppy emu transferred to my modern MacBook, where I then converted and uploaded it to the internet. Also, I write pretty much all of my blog posts on my personal blog, a lot of them about these vintage computers and other computer-related topics. A lot of those posts have been written on one of these vintage Macs and once again transferred to my modern machine using the floppy emu. In addition to word processing, there's also other very general basic tasks such as spreadsheets that you can also do with these machines. In fact, in addition to old versions of Microsoft Word, which is what I use. There are also old versions of Excel that will run on these machines. And in fact, the Excel spreadsheets you create on these old machines require no conversion. They'll actually open up in modern versions of Excel just fine and render just fine. Um, Another thing you can do with these computers is gaming. Pretty much every vintage computer platform, from the IBM PC and PC compatibles, such as your clones, to your Apple IIs and Macs, to your Commodore 64s and Amigas, and everything in between, has a selection of games that you can either purchase online on floppy disks or later CD-ROMs. Or you can download a lot of those same programs and games, applications from the internet, and can move them over to your vintage machines using the floppy emu or some other method. So, in addition to all of that, some people actually can get some of these old computers online with the right hardware modifications. And there are actually groups of fellow hobbyists who have actually embarked on projects to make the web more accessible with these old computers. Unfortunately, I have not been able to get any of my old computers online personally. That is something I would like to do in the future, but right now I just don't have the hardware capabilities to make that happen. Well, that is all the time we have for today. I know this is a very basic, very entry level look at the hobby and what I specifically do with the hobby. However, if you would like more information about the hobby, or you would like to learn more, you can visit my website. It's just personal.garrettfuller.org, and that's my blog. And there's also lots of websites pertaining to the topic of vintage computing and different platforms as well, such as Apple IIs and Commodores and etc. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching it and have a great day.